What's going on, guys? I got 3 projects that I've been working on for the last couple months and finally starting to get them done. I just finished up this beautiful mermaid caster, or whatever you want to call it. I've got 2 daughters and I'm trying to get them interested in building guitars. And this is one of those projects that didn't work out correctly the first time. And after some playing, I just completely started over. So I built a poplar body and just gutted it because it didn't work out right. I didn't get the material to stick on the way I wanted to, and then I didn't get the way the seam to look correct as I was trying to sew it on. And I've never really worked with fabric before, obviously, and it just didn't go over all that well. And then I decided, as I was working through this, to drill and use that as the fastener. I was going to glue it and then seam it, kind of like the waylon Jennings Telecaster. Waylon is one of my all-time favorite, and I've played that guitar before, but I did not like the way the seam stuck out, the way they sort of sewed it. You could feel it, and I just didn't want that same feel. With my girls, I know they're a little bit picky, and I thought this would be the best way to do it. Originally, this started life as a regular setup tele, and I converted to humbucker because I wanted to use this Graphtec bridge, this low slung bridge, and I put essentially like a Les Paul bridge on a tele here. I had the neck already built. It's a African blackwood fretboard with a mahogany back. And this guitar sounds awesome. My littlest one actually helped me sew the material together on the edge. So I glued the material on, cut it, and then I drilled through, you'll see that in the video, and then I took a needle and threaded this around so that the material doesn't peel up. I painted the sides blue, and then this magenta material works out pretty well. And it won't peel up at all. So let's get in and watch this being built. I use my Grammel from LMII and I score the body going around so I get the consistent depth on the inside of the body. So we'll go through and score this, and that's where I know how to drill the holes for the string that's going to actually help fasten the top down. This was my trick after sort of ruining the first body to do it this way. So we did this on both sides relatively quickly and just get a consistent line. I then came back with my ruler and I marked every 3/8 of an inch and went around the body so that I'd get that consistent look then going across. If I knew how to sew better, I could figure out how to maybe do a little bit bigger of a hole and do some sort of pattern, but maybe next time. So then we've got a 1/8 bit, and we use that 1/8 bit, and we drill this out going all the way around the body, and I've got a piece of wood that is a backer, and we're just going to move this body across the drill press and just drill down lots of holes. And this became painful to sew as I made it through. I think it took me longer to sew the top on than it did to actually build the body. So we'll just drill these holes slowly. You want to go slow. Don't want to get any blowouts on the backside. Didn't really matter since I'm putting fabric over this, but wanted to be deliberate and make sure it looked right. So we'll just slowly drill this out. Then once we drill that out, we'll get the router template out, and I'm routing for standard tele config here. And then halfway through all this, I realized I wanted to do humbuckers because I had a special bridge I wanted to use, and I didn't think the screwing down of the standard tele bridge to the material was going to be great. This is not tone fabric, remember. This is mermaid fabric. And I just didn't think that was going to be right. So we routed the neck, pocket and all the other pockets here, I've got my DeWalt 621 router, and I've got a top bearing bit, and we're just stepping down, you know, a 1/4 inch each time. Route, drop it, route, drop it. And we went through and fast forwarded that here. From there, we're going to put the round over on the edge, and this is what's going to kind of help me get that real guitar feel, that softer feel than the hard edge, and I won't get that material to stick out. So now that I've got the holes drilled, this will give me just a comfortable playing edge, and of course my girls need that comfort edge, so we'll just route this with an 1/8 inch. Flip it over and do the same thing to the back side. We then use some blue paint from Angelus. They have this blue acrylic paint, and it really matched the fabric top and felt material. So we decided to put 2 coats on with this stuff, and actually worked out pretty well. Just painted it with the thick paintbrush, and my daughters wanted to help, and I said, no, we're not making a mess in this shop. But I probably could have let them do that. From there, then I filled the original routes with epoxy and decided to switch over to the different bridge that I had. So we got it all lined up. Use my laser level, which is sort of my go-to now. This thing is a great setup tool for me in getting all the distance right. So we'll mark for the 25.5 scale. We'll draw that line, and then we'll make sure we've got this set up across the body. This is my template, drilling template. Got a couple of these. Take this over to the drill press. Use some tape to stick it down. Drill down far enough, and we're good to go. I then am going to use some felt glue. This is blue turquoise felt, and I'm rolling this on. The felt glue was significantly thicker than the tight bond wood glue, and so we figured we'd just try this. It goes on really thick, and I think it absorbs to the felt better, maybe. I don't know. I probably could have just used white glue, but this definitely was thicker. So I'll apply this to the top and the back as well. Same process. The kids needed the guitar to be felt because it felt more like a pillow. I wanted it to be soft, which I didn't agree with, but I was overruled. And then I've got like a sickle-ish type of blade from my X-Acto kit, and it's got a curve in it, and it really helped cut the material. I could pull as I was cutting, and it worked out really well, actually. So spent the time cutting this out and getting it sized properly. I also used a razor blade in a couple spots, just went back and forth with the different tools. Didn't really think one was better than the other. The trick though is you want that felt to be as close as you can to the edge. That way you got nothing sort of floating around, and it just works better. So then when we were at Hobby Lobby, I found this glue on sale, and I thought it was like a pure spray, but it came out like silly string. And put it on, take the sequin material, and just drop it on. So I guess this is like a Flippy sequin. And from here on out, the camera will definitely start to react odd because of the colors. It's just not going to pick up that fuchsia color at all. So it looks awesome in person, but you can see the camera already is starting to fight that color. Just doesn't like it. It's an unnatural color for a man's guitar. But we push this down and flip the material back and forth. So number one, the Flippy stuff doesn't stick. And I know that I don't have too much glue and had to like go back and forth as it was drying. Same process then for the other side. I taped with blue tape the sides of the guitar body so that I didn't get any glue on there. And I peeled that off. You didn't see that in the video. I do then have special scissors now for cutting fabric. These are these flat scissors from Fiskars, whatever. And it really helped get the material as close to the edge as possible. That's the one trick with all of this, is you want that material as close to the edge as you can get it. And then where I couldn't use the scissors, just pulled on the fabric and cut with a razor blade. Here it's actually worked out pretty well. I did notice after assembling the guitar that the Flippy material goes one way on the front and one way on the back, and that it technically doesn't even up. Because if you flip it, it should maybe go the same way. I don't know if it really matters, but I just noticed that. Some of my idiosyncrasies or whatever. So then we'll cut the back side with the same special scissors. And yes, the shop is full of these sequins all over the place. I did spend the time to clean it up, but I still have a bunch of sequins floating around the shop. Alright, so here's the trick then, is after it's been glued on, I took my punch and I punched through the holes. And that's then how I take a needle with this fuchsia, what do they call it, braid cord, and I pulled that through. So I started on one side, I pulled all the material through, and then came back and pulled all of it through. So once I got the hang of this, I took this back upstairs, and my little one would take the thread and needle and walk across the room, and then we'd kind of go back and forth. I then, to fasten it, since this is only 6 yards, 5 yards, I had to use 4 pieces. I took toothpicks and shoved toothpicks in on each side to get that material in to stick. I could have used a nail or some epoxy or whatever. I just didn't want to do it that way. Struggled a little bit to get this going, but in the end it looked cool. I think here I could have done a different pattern if I knew more about sewing, but I don't. But this is special fuchsia tone string. So as I stuck the needle through, I pulled it through with the tweezers that really, or with my pliers that really help sort of pull that material through. This was the last strand. I took the toothpicks in, jammed them in, and then the material and the string I knew weren't going to go anywhere. That's me trimming it up, and then I get some of that blue paint, and where I see any of the white sort of spots where the toothpick was holding it down, I just went over with that blue paint, and then it matched the felt on the bottom. So the guitar is actually soft, which is what the girls wanted, and you can run your hand over the material, and it feels like a pillow-ish. So then we do some of the final setup here. I didn't film all of this, but we'll do the cutting and the wiring and drop it all in and pound these in. It actually worked out pretty well. So we'll go back into live video here. I put some Kent Armstrong pickups in here. These are vintage enamel 42 humbuckers. I'll put the link in the description. I was told that these are some of the better Kent Armstrong pickups. This is the neck. This is the bridge. Probably pick up the action just slightly on the bass strings. This was a fun project. I got my daughters to sort of interact and guide me on what to do. Like I said, the littlest one ended up doing a majority of the sewing other than when I was filming it. She wanted to be on camera, but she's all over the place, so I didn't do that. Got stainless steel frets, and hopefully she'll actually take lessons now. So for all of us that have daughters and we like to play and build guitars, this is an awesome project for you guys to do. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.